If you are a coach or consultant and perhaps an agency who's been wanting to work with better and bigger clients, this is an episode that you are going to want to tune into. So, a popular question of late has been around working with bigger clients, Fortune 500, corporate, mid-sized firms, and that has been a resonating question with my clients, but also with people within my audience. And the aim of this video is to answer why they actually want to work with you, because a lot of the reservations that I got has been around not feeling ready or not feeling like they have the proper setup to work with these kind of companies, as well as what are your advantages and what you may want to do if you want to work with these companies. If this is your first time here, I am Tanya. I'm a business and marketing strategist, and I work with consultants and businesses to amplify their marketing message and leverage social media and digital marketing to attract clients. Now that we've got that out of the way, another question that I'm often asked is, how what did I do in particular that actually helped me attract better clients? And one of the things that I did and that I preach continuously on this channel has been content marketing. And if you want to know what exactly I do with my content that allows me to leverage my digital platforms to create pipeline and drive revenue and attract this kind of deals, the link to the system that I use will be down here. And the best part, you don't even have to give me your email. So if you go on that link, you check it out and you feel like, okay, Tanya, I might still need your help with doing this, then there will be a link to book a consultation with myself and my team. On this note, let's jump into it. This is Biz with Tanya, brought to you by Wiz Digital Academy, a show for business athletes and online bosses who are ready to take up. We are going to be discussing the top strategies for landing big clients as a small consulting agency. Whether you're a consultant, independent contractor, freelancer, this would apply to you, a small agency as well as small consultancy. So this is if you want to maximize your chance of success, and this is advice that applies to consultants just as much as it applies to agencies and freelancers. I just wanted to paraphrase that. And before we go any further with our discussion, I wanted to bring this to your attention. You need to give yourself permission to go after bigger clients. And the reason why I'm recording this video is because a client asked me what they had to do to go after established clients, as she felt it was time, but she didn't feel like she had the necessary caliber. And this is somebody that's really qualified, came from corporate, started a consultancy, and is doing quite well for herself. And that was very important that I address this, because this wasn't the first time that somebody had asked me this question. And whenever I'm asked this question, I'm always in awe of the assumption around what it would take to qualify. There's this belief that there is a completely different skill set necessary that makes you worthy of these type of opportunities. And the reality is that though you might need a skill set or you might need to add a few things, which is often just a slight upgrade on what you're already doing, most time than not, that is not what is missing. More often than not, you often need to give yourself permission. When I started going after bigger clients, it's because I gave myself permission to do so and stopped waiting for this invisible club to invite me to the room. After you give yourself permission, you then need a strategy that will allow you to position yourself in front of these companies to make it possible. Now, one of the wildest questions that I get after I tell my clients or prospect that it is possible to go after bigger clients, and ironically, this week I actually had such a conversation with somebody, and I was like, you need to go after bigger clients instead of just limiting yourself to the smaller clients. And I felt a lot of resistance around the idea, and sometimes it is those feeling of not being worthy. And this is something that we tackle when we work together, because we do have a mindset coach that works also with your clients. And that is often why, because if I'm actually speaking to clients, I'm trying to get you to make your bang, make your shebang, your money and everything. And often try to move you up laterally in your client, because most of the time, if you're finding yourself limited in terms of the money that you're making, it's either you are working with the wrong set of clients that have a budget limit. Secondly, it's often your positioning, the way you position yourself in the category where you operate, and often than not, sometimes you just need to either move horizontally or vertically, going after bigger clients. So if you work with small consultancies, maybe going after a big consulting firm, or going after a financial institution and things like that. So moving laterally, moving vertically. So these are some of the things that we work with our clients with. But then one of the questions is often, why would corporate clients and more mid-sized established firms would award a consulting contract to an independent contractor or consultant or a small agency consultancy? And here's why they want to work with you. One, cost. Independent contractors and small consulting agencies may be able to offer a lot more competitive rates, especially when compared to larger consulting firms with more overhead expenses. That's honest. If you have a smaller team, what might cost $500,000, $200,000 working with you was, let's say, if they had to go with Ernest and Young, they probably would spend five times that. It's nothing personal. It's not because you're the cheapest option. It's often because you are a lot more lean, therefore you don't have that many overheads. Secondly, specialization. Independent contractors and small consulting agencies may have specialized expertise or knowledge in specific area that is relevant to the client's need. Maybe you specialized in being a digital marketer, like myself, and you nailed your marketing strategy in terms of being digitally native. And the brand wants to work with a marketing consultancy agency that is able to take them from traditional to maybe being a lot more digitally native. Instead of going to a consulting firm that is very much, old school, they'll probably go with a consulting firm that is digitally native, because they can see that you have the specialization, and of course you are doing that very well. And instead of taking a risk with a company that may be a lot broader in what they cover, they will go with you because you specialized. For example, flexibility. Working with an independent contractor or small consulting agency can be more flexible and agile, as there are fewer layers of management and bureaucracy to navigate. For example, when companies work with us, it's quite easy for the other side to reach out to me as a CEO, like, hey, Tanya, we need your advice on this. Can you come in on this particular session to maybe assist us with a strategy session? It's a lot easier, and it will be a lot more complicated if we were a lot more big, if we were a larger organization with so many layers of management. They wouldn't necessarily be able to reach out to me because there will be too many management layers before you get to me. So as much as I'm still the CEO, as much as I'm still also a strategist within the company. So they are able to also tap into my expertise with ease, which makes us an attractive alternative to a bigger organization. Secondly, personalized service. Actually, yeah. Small consulting agencies and independent contractors, consultants may be able to provide a more personalized and hands on approach to consulting, as they typically have fewer clients and can therefore dedicate more time and attention to each one. Now, depending on what kind of services that you offer, with a productized or a more tailor made service, the fact that you might not have a huge book of clients across multiple countries, for example, at the capacity that we have now, we are still limited on the type of projects that we can take on, because if we take too much, we do not have capacity. So there are certain projects, if we don't feel that they are worth our time, we will turn away because we feel that we do not have the capacity or the bandwidth to take that on. So because we also very specific with the type of clients that we work with, certain projects are referred to other sister companies, sister agencies, people or referral partners that will like, hey, I can't handle this project. Do you want it? Or things like that, because then we can focus on the clients and provide a better customer experience. And this is something that clients will appreciate. So before you start thinking that I can't do this, I'm a coach and I'm also talking to coaches, I can't do this because I'm not big enough. These are some of the reasons that we want to work with you. So yeah, I'm going to talk, kind of try to target why most small agencies, consultancies, independent contractors, independent coaches, consultants might be hesitant to approach larger corporations and mid-sized firms to get contracts. And one of the things that I've actually heard quite often is that as a smaller consulting firm and independent contractor, you may not feel like you have the same level of credibility or reputation as larger consulting firms, which can make it difficult to win contracts with larger clients. And this often is a fallacy. And I have to say that I often find that this problem, I'm a woman, so I can say this, is often found with women founders. Oftentimes as women, before we go after a contract or an opportunity, we often feel that we need to check all the boxes. Whereas most male founders, even if they only check some of the boxes, they will go after opportunities and often end up getting it. And even if they don't get it, they have an opportunity to iterate and improve. And this is why most of the time these big contracts are going to such companies, because the they had the sense that, hey, I can do it, I either get it or lose it. And this is something that I must say that I have learned from working with male coaches, because I've learned that I can go after opportunities, and whether I get it or not, well, at least I tried and something came out of it. Either I learned or I as an opportunity to iterate. And this is something that I want you as a consultant, as a coach, as a smaller agency to actually incorporate. Give yourself permission to go after opportunities, even if you just check some of the boxes. And you might be surprised that you might actually get into the room and win these contracts. Another thing is often limited resources. Smaller consulting firms and independent contractors may not have the same resources, staff, budget, equipment as larger firms, which can make it challenging to take on larger projects. And one of the things that we do sometimes with my consultancy, we partner with other consultancies that may be of a size and that we can deliver the project together. This is something that works tremendously well, and you'll be surprised how many other companies are able to do this. And this is something that I must say I learned from working with clients that are in the government contracting space, and it taught me that if you don't have the capacity, you can look at other partners and team up to deliver on contracts. And this is something that is quite prominent in the government contracting space that I don't see as much of it has happening in the private sector, and that when you actually do this, you may actually be able to go after bigger contracts. So this is an option that you can go after. Competition. There is often a lot of competition for consulting contracts, especially from larger firms that may have more experience and resources. Now, the fact that they are bigger doesn't mean that they will always win those contracts. You have the ability that a lot of these bigger firms do not have. For example, if you are a young firm that exists in the same market as, let's say, McKinsey and Company. McKinsey and Company, a lot of the time, their messaging has to be, aligned to go with everything that they have around the world. Whereas you're a lot more agile. So you have the opportunity to dominate even in your local market, because you have the opportunity to adapt your messaging to fit your market at any time and move around like water. So this is actually a, an advantage. And like I said, instead of looking at the competition, look at how you can stand out in that sea, because a lot of the big organizations are doing the same thing over and over again, are not as agile as you in terms of innovation. So how can you innovate in your industry? Another thing is fear of rejection. It feels intimidating to approach larger corporations and mid-sized firms for consulting contracts, especially if the smaller firm or independent contractor is not confident in the ability to deliver value. And what you need to do with this is kind of like what I mentioned before. Think about partnering. If you feel that you're not confident, partner with an experienced consulting firm. That way you will feel confident and you can subcontract to them. There's always that opportunity. You can subcontract to another agency, consultancy, or you can partner and deliver together. That's another thing. And the way I got over the fear of rejection is actually with emails. For those that are not aware, I come from the copywriting background, direct response, which is very much cold email, cold traffic, all those things, and then evolved into persuasive copywriting. But one of the things that I've leveraged to get over that is email. If I'm rejected over email, at least it wasn't face to face. So that's something that I'm okay with. And I've also worked on myself long enough to know that, hey, not everything is for me, and whatever that is going to be aligned is going to be aligned. And one of the things that I make sure that the contracts and opportunities that are for me becomes for me is because I also put myself out there and share exactly who I am, what I believe in, so that aligned opportunities lend into our lap. For those that are on the way, we leverage the founder-led go-to-market. So I'm the primary force in terms of marketing for the business, though I'm not necessarily the only one that delivers on the projects. But that's something that I found that it could be done because I'm leveraging my personal brand, I'm leveraging my personal voice and my intuitions and how I do things and how I write and everything to drive pipeline and revenue, and that is working. So another thing you could think about is creating content to ensure that instead of being rejected, that aligned opportunities come to you. But it's important to align your content strategy to speak to this affluent, premium, and sophisticated buyer. That is often the biggest issue there, but once adjusted, you will be able to make bank and you'll be able to work with this type of clients. Another thing is limited experience. Smaller consulting firms and independent contractors may not have as much experience working with larger clients, which can make them hesitant to approach these types of firms for contracts. And this is often also the biggest issue. And you only gain experience once you start doing the thing. So if you want to be working with bigger clients, well, then you have to put yourself there to start working with bigger clients. And there has to be a first time. So the first time you will not have the experience, but after the first, second, and third time, now you have experience working with bigger clients. So you need to give yourself permission to still go after them, even if you feel you don't have the necessary experience. And if you feel you don't have the necessary experience and you really feel that it's going to be a problem and you're scared of being able to deliver, then partner or subcontract. So, what would be the best advice I will give independent contractors, independent consultants, small agencies, and consultancies that want to attract clients that are corporate and mid-sized firms or even tech startups? Yeah, if you want to go about the tech, this still applies to you. Build your credibility. This cannot be said enough, and this is something that I'm endeavoring to continue to do and continue to build on. Is establish yourself as an expert in your field by writing articles. Yes, these people read, giving presentations, organizing events where people can come and hear what you think and what are your thoughts, what is your expertise, and sharing knowledge on social media or through other online channels. If there's something that I am continuously speaking about, is that you need to start approaching marketing as a media company, as a media brand, and think of the marketing that you put out there as a form of reading material. Think about the fact that when our parents were still working, for example, or you were young, you will see your father pick up the newspaper and have coffee and reading the newspaper. Nowadays, people do that with social media. People do that with LinkedIn. I recently ran a poll, and over 50% of respondents say that they consume information on social media. Only between 15 to 25% say that they consume information on podcasts and YouTube, and others then share newsletters and other apps. But think about the opportunity that you have with social media. If 50%, let's say just 50%, even say 45% of people in your total addressable market are consuming content and information on social media, are you showing up on the social media platforms to share your thoughts, perspective, your ideologies on those platforms? If you are not, then that is a loss of opportunity. Secondly, network and make connections. Attend industry events, join professional organizations, connect with potential clients through LinkedIn and other professional network platforms. There are network groups that you, for example, pay associations to be part of it, or even just there are some that are free. Make the time, make it a thing that at least once a month you are attending such events, because that is where you connect with people, because you're able to meet with other people, you're able to continue the conversation. LinkedIn is probably the one of the best place, in one of the hidden gold mines for clients. Leverage LinkedIn. It's free. It's free. And I have a video on how to get clients on LinkedIn. I will link it up here if you have never really used LinkedIn. So I'll link two videos up here on how to think about doing prospecting on LinkedIn, as well as how to get clients, which was an event. And I look forward to hosting this type of event soon again. Develop a strong value proposition. Clearly articulate the value that you can bring to your clients and how you can help them solve their problems or achieve their goals. This is often one of the biggest problems that I find working with entrepreneurs, even businesses, and sometimes also startup, especially when we are coming in as a consultant early on, when they are still trying to develop their value proposition. A lot of times we need to take the raw message and articulate it as the market want to receive it. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not working with a coach, you're not working with a consultant, it's your job to ensure that you're articulating your value proposition really well. Now, I will link a podcast episode where I appeared, and inside that episode, I kind of explain how to go about creating your value proposition. If you want to listen to that, you can do that. But the biggest thing is to continuously ask why. Why are you doing this? Why? And I explain that thoroughly in that episode. You may want to read that, and I'm trying to keep this video very short. Now, debatable. A lot of people debate about this. Yeah. But if you want to attract mid-sized firms and corporate clients, a website is a non-negotiable. You need a professional website. You want to invest in a professional looking website that showcases your skills and experience, and make sure that you to include client testimonials and case studies, so that they can see that you are credible. In this year, it's a non-negotiable if you're going with after bigger clients, because they expect this. It's a minimum requirement, especially when they're going to be doing some background research on you. So invest in creating a professional website that tells them who you are, what you do, how you do it, and if you've worked with other people. Ideally, you want to have worked with other people. Even if you haven't worked with people, you are relatively new, get experience, a testimonial from people that you've worked with in your previous job. Do some work for free and get testimonials for that. Trust me, sometimes doing work for free and getting testimonials can be greatly leveraged in the long run. Then finally, be responsive and flexible. Demonstrate your ability to be responsive and adaptable to the needs of your clients. Agility, flexibility, and agility is something that you want to be able to offer to your clients, your corporate and mid-sized firms, because that's something that a lot of the bigger firms cannot do, and that is one of your distinguishable characteristics that makes you different to them. So be willing to go the extra mile to meet their expectations, and really invest into the customer experience so that they feel special. This is very important. So as we end it here, I've really tried to make this valuable, but of course, I couldn't cover everything, and I know that some of you may want to go a lot further with this and discuss this a lot further. So if you'd like further support on the subject, me and my team to show you how to implement a client acquisition system to build a multi six figure pipeline by working with corporates, tech startups, and medium sized businesses. Find me on IG, Tanya underscore La Patron. DM me the word consulting, and Betty the bot will share with you a Word doc that details how we can support you further. Now, if you also want to know how to land clients without necessarily talking to one of us, there's a free course there underneath that is going to give you a brief insight on our approach, the APK method that is down there, and then there's the framework that we use for content. The link will also be in the description box, or if you are listening to this, it will be in the podcast episode description box. Now, please, I have a favor to ask you. We are trying to grow this brand. 75% of people watching and listening to our content are not subscribed. All I ask is that you please subscribe. Subscribe so that we can grow, engage. Write a comment down here. What is something that you feel that you haven't done that you would like to do in terms of your business? What type of clients do you want to go after? Write it in the comment. I will try to share some insight with you on that. Please subscribe, share, and I will see you on the next time. Bye bye.